Greetings, one and all, and welcome to Seven Kinds of Mischief. I'm your host, Stone Loki, and of course, my co-pilot tonight is one doctor of disaster and destruction, Adega Outlaw. Good evening, brother.
Good evening. How's it going?
It is going. How are you doing, brother?
Well, because I gave you a frustrated call this morning.
We did. We talked this morning, Valhalla. We talked with Adega this morning, and go ahead, brother.
No, you're fine. It's a disappointment. Before I get into any details, and I have to thank Loki. I was just planning on doing a regular show tonight, and he says, "You know what? Maybe we ought to get into stuff because now you're a little more free to talk about things." First off, the publishing company it was with the owners are absolutely 100% top-notch, wonderful people. I still trust them, but the company had to fold. I'm not going to get into too many details just yet. I do not know the details other than I know circumstance, life, problems with COVID, having to move, having materials lost, having a moving truck not show up, just disappear off the planet. A lot of things had affected the company to where they felt it was best to release the company instead of try and fight against it was becoming a no-win situation. There was a couple people within, this is my own personal thing, and I'll talk about them without using names, that were sabotaging, in my opinion, a lot. I'm not worried about my stuff. I have good stuff. I can take it just about anywhere. I can get recommendations for it. Not worried about it. I wanted to be with these two people, husband and wife team, because they are such wonderful people. They've experienced, they know the business, and it's just one of those things where you do everything right, but everything wrong happens. So I feel bad for them. No, I really do.
You called me. This was months and months. This was last year. You called me and you were very excited because you said, "Loki, I've got this opportunity. I can either stay with this publishing company I've been talking to, or I can go off with this husband and wife team that are breaking off to do their own publishing house." And you were very excited about this, but you were like, "I'm not sure what to do." And I said, "Brother, follow your gut. Whatever your gut's telling you to do, if you're excited about doing this one thing, then do that. If your gut tells you no, stick with what you're doing, do that." And I didn't really tell you, well, do this or that. I just said, do what your gut tells you to do.
Right. So you've known beforehand, before everybody else, before I got locked down on a non-disclosure.
Yes.
Because I was in talks with another company, and these people saw my material and said, "You know what? You are the first person that we've approached. We really want your stuff. You represent what our company will be." And their business model isn't like Tor or some of these other big ones. It was unique. It was far better. The contract was more than fair. Like I said, these people are awesome. And so I went to work for them. I had an agreement to where I had to produce something on social media at least once a week, which you guys see I've been doing it every Sunday. I'm still going to do that. And then my materials were submitted and started going through the editing processes. And this is where things started to slow down. This is where I ran in, and Loki's heard me complain about it more than a couple times. And these are things that he's hinted at and never told anyone. But the unfortunate thing is good editors are very, very hard to find. And sometimes the ones who know how to actually edit some things don't know how to edit other things. That's where the woke comes in. My story, The Blood Witch, is about basically a girl, and she grows up in the story and she learns that the family has this genetic trait. It was produced by magic 800 years in the past, which is what the Oganza witch is about, where if they touch blood with their hands, it turns it to gold. If it gets on their body, not only does it turn to gold, but they gain significant strength, 2-3 times stronger than what they were. If they ingest it, they become death itself. Absolutely nuts. And the story is about her discovering what this is all about and running into a gentleman who's about 2 years older than her, who's a mage. And he was born under, because they only have mages every 203 years. There's a mage star that appears. And if you're born right at the exact second, 1, 2, sometimes 5, mages are born. He was one of 2. And it's about how they kind of get together and they learn to defeat the big bad of the story. But in the process, she is a girl who becomes a woman. He is a boy who becomes a man. She does not grow up to be Mary Sue. He does not grow up to be Soy Boy. And the editors didn't like that. And there came times where things were like, it's set in a medieval setting where they were passing by old ruins. And the editor would say, well, if that can't be there, those old ruins would have been torn down and all those materials used somewhere else. And I had to write in little notes in the edit saying, yeah, tell that to all the people who are in England and Ireland, Scotland, throughout Europe, where all these old castles, decrepitated buildings are still there after 600, 700, 8 years. Another time where no army can march 20 miles in a day. So I sent another article about the British Army had to put 50 pounds of weight on their back and march 20 miles in 5 hours. So this was the fight over and over. And every time they would send an edit in, it would have to go and be paid for, even though it was needed to be rejected.
And you'd brought up to me at one point that they even had a problem with you talking about how this girl learned her craft, learned how her powers. Like she shouldn't be learning this. She should just have it, know how it all works. What does that sound like, lady?
Well, yeah, exactly. Because in the story, she has a cousin who's disturbed, very disturbed. And he attempts to dominate her. And at one point attempts to rape her. She pulls a scalpel out of her pocket while she's laying on her back and cuts his eye open. No, wait, not him. She cuts another guy's eye open. That was a pretty gross scene. He gets piked eventually. But her cousin gets a sword through the back, through his gut, and the blood spills out onto her chest. And that's when things start to ignite in her brain saying, whoa, holy crap, something's going on here. She rolls away, tries to figure things out, but it takes years for her to completely get it, where they say, well, first off, cousins don't do this. And I'm just going, where have you been in history? Have you ever opened up a history book? And a boy shouldn't be there to rescue like that. And I said, I've done the same thing myself to a girl who was being knifed to death by her boyfriend down the street and had to chase him off. It was little things like this where if she wasn't the Mary Sue and he wasn't the Soy Boy, then they rejected it over and over. And it was making me sick to my stomach. At very first, I thought, maybe I'm not a good writer. Maybe this was done wrong. And then I sat back, talked with my wife, talked with Loki, went over a few things and just going, they are really screwed in the head. And then it became a battle until one point I said, you know what, I'm going to get my own editor. And the owner of the company pretty much said, you're good to go. I don't like what they're doing either. There was a couple points which I got to give them credit. There's a couple things where, they were correct. But it was simple things. It wasn't main story things. So it was a frustrating and long battle in order to try and get this book ready to go. I have the book cover. Let me give you have that still?
I can find it on Twitter, yes.
Yeah, because it's going to be way back in there. You guys can see the book cover if you want now because it's no longer held in control. the text, I can be able to talk specifically about it when it comes to the weekend, and then re-release it to other companies. But I think what Loki was wanting, and I appreciate him for this, is for me to be able to get this off my chest to talk with you guys about it tonight, because it's been flattering, it's been fun and frustrating all in one. And then to know that these poor people, like I said, the owners of this company are awesome people, absolutely awesome people. And to see what they've gone through, and all of us go through hardships to where they had to fold the company. It's heartbreaking to me. I feel more for them than I do for myself. But still, I've promised you guys that these books were coming, the re-release of the Evolution series, the sci-fi stuff, all of that. And I got to find a new home for it.
They didn't just do this with you, though, did they? They were doing this to
other. Oh yeah. It's. But there was a couple of writers in the group who were of more of that persuasion, and but there's another guy who I approached him as soon as this came out. I said, you know what, buddy, I want you to think about this, because one of these nights I need you to come and get on this night show and share some of your horror stories. Remember I told you about that one horror story that was just amazing and I couldn't stop reading it? One of the first times I couldn't put something down.
Yes.
He does these short stories. They were doing a group of short stories. He's pitching them somewhere and doing some other things with them now. But the guy that we had come on that shared his stories, if you were to compare him side by side, he was a 3. The guy that I know through the company is a 10. That wide of a difference. Just amazing at what he does. So I'm hoping that one of these nights I can get him on and he can read something brief. Because he's just... you want spooky, the guy knows his stuff. And I can't write the way he does just because it wrenches you so hard. And you don't want to sleep. He's the guy to listen to. He's the guy to read. Just crazy. I don't know what his voice is like, but I know his writing is just out there when it comes to horror. He beats anybody that I've ever read.
All right, I'm pulling it up now. I could send it through Twitter. Give me just a second. But they were just going to keep doing this, keep sending back the work, not...
Well, yeah, I think the idea, and this is the way I think it is with most editors, is that you go through 7 or 8 chapters, submit it to the publisher, they review it, get paid for it, then they go back. You never get paid for the full project up front. It's bits and pieces. And so they submit 2 or 3 chapters, they get reworked, put them back in. Oh, you got to rework the chapters. And this is another one of the works from this is my own personal artist, because if you were to see any other fantasy book, it would look nothing like this. They all have the same thing. Someone oil painting a dragon with people on a hill of bones or something and a sword, and some guy or girl standing there triumphantly or sitting contemplatively, or someone holding each other in their arms. She's not like that. This, when you look at it, you've never seen anything else like that. There's the Blood Witch in the center. She has on highlight, there's 2 little animal characters that are magically turned to be able to communicate on either side, and has the family cross right underneath her neck. It's a family seal. So that was the cover. Probably still will be the cover when it gets redone. Maybe some touch-ups here and there. But she put a lot of effort into that.
It looks beautiful. When Adega showed me this, I was like, "Oh damn! I want it. I want it on my shelf." Right. I love hardback books. So I love especially the filigree on there. I love shit like that. So I see something like that with that gold filigree, and I'm like, yes, I want it. I've got a Princess Bride anniversary hardback that's got all of that on the front of it, and it's got Buttercup and Wesley on the cover in gold, and it looks fucking beautiful. I love shit like that. I'm a softie when it comes to hardback books.
Well, the whole thing on this is symbolic. You know, there's the fields where they have one of the big battles. The bird on the right, that is called Fee. It's a crow, and it's acts like a crow. You know, life, death, no big deal. You know what? Things pass on. Give me some food. But it can go up and spy and do different things. And then sometimes it takes off. The character on the left, it doesn't have a name except she calls it Grin. And any of you who have followed the Algonza witches, it shows up in 3 different chapters. One where it's hidden in spies, and then at the very end, you'll actually see it in the epilogue. But they live a very long life, and it learned a lot from this one mage, and it carries on to share with our main character here, Veronica, and eventually her love interest, Warren. Or Torin. Warren is his dad.
Now, originally, when you brought out Evolution, that was self-published through Amazon, right?
Yeah, and I'm not ever going to do that again.
Yeah.
Reason being, and people don't know this unless you've been told by someone or experienced it yourself. Amazon is not good to the small creators. That's why indie is nice. My books went through the people who actually printed it and then went to Amazon, and there was a profit margin for my company, but Amazon says, hey, you want to list it with us? Then you get 15%. Amazon took 85% right off the top. And then my company that printed the books got 15%. I got 30% of that. So every book that I made was just pennies on the dollar. It was next to nothing. Amazon made a mint. I sold a lot of books, and I don't. Some of you guys know, who've been around long enough, know that I don't make any money off of this. It all gets put away for my kids. These books are actually legacy books. The people that are in the books are people that I know made fictional. They are. I will never tell you who Veronica represents. I will never tell you who May represents. But the other people in there, like my icon, there is a guy from the sci-fi stuff. I used him for my YouTube stuff. His name's Marcus. Marcus, if you read his stuff, you'll go, okay, that's Adega. I put myself in there shamelessly, but you probably wouldn't know it unless you knew my personality. But there's, it's all people that I've known over the years and put into fiction. And I don't know. But with the going back to Amazon, I get sidetracked very easily. It's the first thing I did when I signed with the company that I had, and they were hesitant at first. They said, it's up to you. You don't have to do it. And I said, you know what? I want you guys to succeed, so I'm going to pull my book and you guys print it. And I never got a chance to do it because of personal, their family tragedies that they had, things beyond their control. So it will come out again. And those of you who have the book, you could explain to others what it is. And Purple has the second book in the series. I don't know if she's had a chance to look at it yet. It's basically what she's doing is reading it, not to edit it, but to give her impressions to me. If there's anything she wants further explained, I'll be happy to look at it and see if it needs more explanation or if it's something I deliberately wanted vague. If there's something that needs tweaking just for face value, I appreciate all that. Everybody who said, nice things about my stuff, I really appreciate it. And you can talk to Loki. For the longest time, early on, I did not believe I was an author. Not at all. But I keep getting all these beyond positive comparisons to brilliant people of the past that I am very grateful for the wonderful comments. And I think the biggest compliment I got of all was one came from Joe Mazzoli, who said it was fantastic and he loved what I wrote. And then also Top Fives, who sought me out because of what I wrote and said, hey, we want you to, work for us to write scripts. The first one should be any time now. I'll let you guys know when it's out. But like I said, they've already paid me for it. But so anyway,
so you've got the Blood Witch, you've got Evolution, you've got the sequel to Evolution.
Actually, the Evolution universe is 5 books.
5 books.
The Evolution was the first. And then after that, there's 2 others to make a trilogy. I did do The Unthinkable and did a prequel, and the people who went through it, Lady Mist, she's just an absolute doll. We all know that. She has gone through Children of the Directive, which is the one I want you to check out.
Yeah.
And everyone that has gone through it says this is the way a prequel is supposed to be done. I've been in the fandom long enough to know that these are things you don't do. These are things you do. And it has to make sense. It has to be congruent with the original story. You don't change character motivations unless there's a dang good reason. And I put that all in there. And it ties in with the first book, in my opinion, flawlessly.
There was a prequel that I read where the villain in the beginning of this trilogy was the hero in the prequel, and it showed how he became the person he became. And you think, how is this good honorable person, how does this son of a bitch become that?
Right.
And the way they did it was perfect.
Yeah.
It was absolutely perfect and believable.
And there isn't one hero in this. And all the books, like I said, they are people that I know. And the stories are set fictional, but I try to tell not necessarily an allegory, but life stories tied into a bigger story. Like there's one point where one of the main characters is sitting, he lived on this perfect earth, which, those of you who have seen the whole story, it doesn't quite end well for Earth. But it was perfect paradise. And then he gets out on the outskirts and he's sitting down watching people who are away from that inner core of worlds think of something better than the Federation. And he ends up on, some place that resembles Serenity. And he sees these people and he thinks, wow, that's real emotion. The perfect environment that I used to live in, you don't see the sorrow, you don't see the joy. The extremes really is what makes a human, not this mundane, everyone's fed and everyone has a beautiful surrounding around them. It's not living life, so that was one of the things it just little bits and pieces. And you can probably remember that when he first gets to that asteroid community. And I try and put as much as I can in as few as words as possible. And, that's just one of the things. But the whole arc is telling family relationships. Because at the very end of the trilogy, not the 5th book, but the first 3 books, the very end there's a father-son deal. The last one, there's another father-son deal. Almost the whole series is a mother-son deal. The daughter things comes in with the Blood Witch, the Organza witches. There's more of but I originally started this, to be honest with you, because you guys know I'm sick. And I don't talk about it because there's plenty of people that are sick and have their own issues. And for some reason, the good Lord's allowed me to live a lot longer than I should. I had a family relative who said, we're going to write your biography. And I says, what? I try and write. Why don't I just do it myself? And instead of just sitting down there being narcissistic to some point, I figured if you want to know who I am, read the books. They'll tell you the people I met. They'll tell you the things I believe in. It's all there. It doesn't necessarily mean I went to Arizona and found this ancient rock that has artifacts in it that shouldn't exist, which is sitting right next to me. Or, things like that. But it does tell you the important stuff, the lessons that I've learned. It's all in there. So the whole thing is, and hopefully I'm not boring too many people here, but
you're not boring anybody.
It's just, it was a disappointing day. And I really, really, hope I didn't let anyone down who was looking forward to buying these things. And I'm hoping for the very, very best for the owners of the company that no longer exists. I want them to be happy too.
To me, and this is just my opinion. To me, what it sounds like is you had a group of editors, because you also had an editor that left because of a description of the company.
Here's a kicker. Savage Stories was kind of a slogan, and the editor said, I cannot be associated with any company that uses the word savage. So that was ridiculous. I mean, just absolutely ridiculous. And everyone, the vast majority of everybody were saying this person's, pretty much don't let the door hit you in the butt on your way out.
Yeah. Your work's going to get published. I think that these people.
I'm not worried about it.
I know you talked to me in a little more detail, and I'm not gonna give that detail because I don't know what you can talk about, what you can't talk about.
You can talk about anything I told you. I'm just not going to mention any names, and I'm not going to bring up exact transcripts until after Saturday.
One of the things you told me was that the editor, I spoke a little bit about the editor that you had to deal with, but the other editors that were doing this as well, it really sounds like to me like they were making a living off of trying to push you and other writers into changing your story to suit their narrative, and when you didn't, they continued to send your stuff back to you and make money off of that, saying write this again, write this chapter again, write these paragraphs again, write this part of the story again, because you need to change this because you're not writing it correctly in their eyes and their narrative.
And therein is why I feel even exceedingly sorry for the publisher, because every time they turned around and sent it back, they made money, even though nothing was absolutely done. And what some of the things they requested was ridiculous stupidity. Again, how many ruins are there throughout Europe from ancient times that were never taken down? And yet I was told that this doesn't happen. Yeah, you got it, Purple. The hubris of those editors. I'm never going to give out the names. They deserve to make their own living. But
yeah, this isn't about canceling anybody. No. Bad Steven, $2 Canadian super chat says you are no letdown. We understand and push the F on.
Oh, I will. I'm not worried about me. It's just it's the shock that I hit Loki with, and now last night, Steven, you asked me like 3 times, what's going on, man? Tell me about your stuff. What's going on? You got to fill me in. Well, now you know. I mean, the main hit came this morning, but still, it was just, it's all part of life, and it's part of the struggle that is behind the scenes that, I didn't know what was going on like this in the book community, and the difficulty it is for a lot of people with brilliant ideas. And I'm not saying mine are brilliant, but there are a lot of people that have stories to tell, information to give out, and the doors are shut simply because the gatekeepers are morons. And this company that I worked for was not morons. They were good people. It just circumstance, for the most part, it was mostly circumstance. You can't blame this on the editors exclusively. And I don't even know if that's it for sure, but I have a big inkling that it was a major drag on it. That caused this, probably many other companies, to have failed. Like I said, you can't pin all of this on the editors. There were circumstances beyond everyone's control that caused things to slow down.
Psychodorp 9 says editors shouldn't try to rewrite the creative. Polish, yes. And that's what I agree with.
Yeah, and that's the way my first book. You know, the thing is, and I realize this being in the writers community, and I deliberately, I told Steve and a couple other people this, Loki knows, you don't always see me around because, one, I'm either writing something, doing something with my family, or I'm deliberately going to other circles, not necessarily sticking with the fandom, because I am one on exploring all kinds of things, ranges, thoughts, all kinds of different things, and getting into the writing community, which, you know, a few of you bounced around to check out here and there, especially when Dal Cicerona was showing up back and forth. I found out that there is hubris and a lot of low IQ people thinking that they can write. And I don't, that's fine. Go for it. Write what you want, because it's ideas, one form or another. It's ideas, and it's great to have them out. But to expect them to be rewarded for average diminishes the whole. Brilliance should be rewarded. Extraordinary and beautiful should be rewarded. Average should be taken as average. Poor should be recognized as poor. Otherwise, people won't grow. New things won't be invented. And the true beauty of the world won't be expressed, at least properly.
And guys, let me tell you something. Adega didn't come to me and ask me to do this tonight. I encouraged him to do this tonight. This is not something Adega asked me to do. This is something I said, listen, dude, come on tonight. I know we usually do the back and forth with the stories and stuff, but let's talk about this tonight, because it's important and you need to get it off your chest. Guys, a lot of what I do in the morning is getting stuff off my chest and talking about it, and it helps. You know, you guys, I get people all the time telling me, hey, I love listening to you in the morning. It gets my day going. You guys get my day going. And that's one of the ways you guys get, I get to talk about all this stuff with you. I get to go over all this stuff. I get to have fun. I get to I get to rant some. I get to get upset. I get to be in a good mood. All of that is almost like I get it out. I get it out of my system. And the idea tonight was to get Dega in here and get him talking about this, because he has worked his ass off for this. He has. You guys, it's not just, oh, well, I've been working with the editors. Me and Adega have talked over and over and over about this, and the work he's put in, and the work he put in with the company, and the work he's putting in on YouTube, and the work he's writing. And this isn't just like, oh, well, I got a publisher now, so I can just write my stuff, and I just do. No, it's not like that. This is work. This is really work, and them giving him a hard time. That was really bothering me. He's like, should I be bothered by this, Logan? I'm fuck yeah, you should be bothered by this. You were invited to be there. You didn't ask that publishing company to take your book. They invited you. They said, you're the first person we want to ask to be a part of this. I said, no, you go to that owner and you tell her, hey, this person's fucking with my work. This person is messing with my book, wanting me to rewrite parts of my book. I'm not going to do this, and they backed him. As well, they should back him.
Yeah, you have no idea how valuable that conversation was that day. You helped me out a lot, and I appreciate it,
brother. It's your story. It's not her story. It's not the editor's story. No matter how much they want it to be their story. Oh well, I would do it like this. Well, you're not the creative talent behind it. So tell me if I made a word mistake here, or this sentence is a run on, or doesn't make sense, or whatever. But don't tell me how to rewrite my story to fit your fucking narrative. It's not about your narrative. It's about my story. It's about the story. And
Right.
you right, dude. That evolution is beautiful. That book is fucking beautiful, and we all want more stories from Adega. And I am very disappointed, not in you at all, sir, but the fact that now we've got to wait longer, and that's not your fault at all. It really sounds like these dipshit editors have taken advantage of a situation and pushed a company to the point, a new company, where they should have been coming out with books. I mean, I was waiting. I was like, you you could tell them a day. I was like, when are they going to come out with Evolution, and when are they coming out with the next book, and when are they coming out with Blood Wish, and how long do I got to wait to get the next book in the Evolution saga? And I've just been on pins and needles, and it's been months. And I'm like, what is going on? And he's telling me this stuff about the editors, and I'm like, no. But then they listen to him, so I was like, okay, he's back on track. And they're back on track, and I'm just like, I'm waiting, and I'm like, is this normal? Is it normal for them to take that long? Is it normal? Maybe it is. I don't know. I've never had to deal with a publisher. They should have got your work out.
It usually takes about a year. It usually takes about a year, but this was been almost 2. I don't know. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
Year and a half at least. Well, yeah, it's been 2 years. It's been 2 years. Why in the heck do I still know you after 2 years? What?
Because we both like to set shit on fire and burn that shit down. That's why. That's a hard thing to find in a friend. Hey, you want to set some shit on fire? Hell yeah!
Get those beat up GI Joes and let's blow them up.
Let's blow them up. Let's stick firecrackers to the GI Joes and blow them sky high. Nowadays, people are like, no. Right now, Coach is holding his Star Wars collection, going N-O, no.
I know how to make a blowtorch. Those things will melt nicely.
That's right. Because we like to blow shit up, man. And you're my brother. I'd do anything for you, guys. I want to say this because I know Adega is going to be like, shut the hell up, Loki, here in a second. But I'm going to say it anyway. Adega never asked anybody for anything. Adega has never asked to come on my show in the morning. Adega has never asked to be on any show. I asked him. I wanted him. Adega has never asked me for anything. Adega would do anything for any one of us. He has never asked for a thing. Not that I know of. And I probably never will. Those of us who love Adega and want to introduce people to his work go out of our way to do so. It is not anything he asks us to do. We do it because we love the work he does, and he is a wonderful writer. Please pass that along.
Well, I do have to
go ahead.
Catch you on one because I did ask Purple to be a beta writer.
Okay,
a beta reader.
Like, hey, you know what? I've come up with a new candy. Do you want to try it? Fuck yeah, I want to try it. I've come up with a new caramel that tastes better than everything out today. Do you want to try a piece? Fuck yeah, I want to try a piece. That's not asking. No, I'm talking about like, hey, do you want to mow my lawn? Oh God, no! You're like offering new shit that's like candy. No, asking someone to be a beta writer when they love books. That's like putting candy, like soft caramels, in front of me. I got a whole fucking bag of like 120 soft caramels next to me because I don't want to smoke ever again. So I'm like num half the day when I'm sitting at my desk. You tell me there's a new kind of soft caramel that tastes better than the old ones, I'm gonna be like, hell yes.
Well, I got Purple on the spot. She can fill me in later, or we can get on StreamYard sometime and finish it up.
Arwen got it. Blessing people is not asking people. Thank you, Arwen.
Yeah, well, I never ask for subs or any of that stuff. It's not really that important to me. I like being here, but
Never ask Loki for something he may see as a weakness. No, no, not at all. Not at all. I totally get it. Guys, I ask people for help all the time. It's just usually it's for other people. So I love helping. I love helping out. I love being there for my friends, for my family, and if I can do that, I will do that. That's what this is all about tonight. I knew Adega needed to get all this out.
hey, Josh, you're awesome. I have somebody, and you guys. She's actually been on the show. She does a good job. If I ever need it, I'm gonna use her. But Purple, and I want an honest opinion in front of everybody. From what you read on the second book, is it on par with the first? Because most of the times when people write a second book, the second one they say isn't as good or it's better. If it's on par, I'll be happy. From what you read so far, I don't know if you've gone through the whole thing or not.
See, I won't. I want to read it.
I know you want a hardcover and you want it in your hands and all that. That's fine.
I'm
but you
so
need to go and
old.
listen. You need to go listen to Children of the Directive.
God, Adega's like, listen to it on YouTube. Don't wait for the books. And I'm like, but I want to read it. I want to read it.
Yeah, people want to hear my audiobooks. They're there. I don't have. I took several of them off, and I won't be putting them back on.
Those I want to listen to.
Yeah.
Because you can't, it's like, yeah, take it away. And of course, I want to listen to it. I've got to listen to Children of Directive. I'm moved now, ladies and gentlemen. I'm moved. So I'm going to have more time. I've got a con this weekend, but after that, I will have more time. And Lady Miss Adega was there for me when my mom passed. Thank you, Adega.
It was the least I can do and everything that I could do. I guess I'm happy that I was able to help. When I saw that what I did helped, I was very, very glad. You've read the second one 3 times already?
I've read it 3 times.
Oh.
God, you lucky Purple. Purple's lucky.
Well, as soon as number 3 gets done, I'll have to send it to you because you noticed in 2 there is a big, wide opening of nothing, leaving you hanging. And yeah, I won't leave you hanging. I got to get, and it's about the size. It's bigger than the other 2 combined. It'll take you longer.
Absolutely insane. I don't want to read it. I want to read it.
I can send you the link.
Yeah, send me the link. I'll read it. Fuck it, I'll do it digitally. I love having a book in my hand. Does that make me weird, chat? If you think me like feeling like a need to have a book, an actual book, not a fucking Kindle, not anything like that, not on my phone. I can listen to audiobooks, but I can't read a book on my damn phone or on a Kindle or anything. I want to have the paper in my hand. I want to hold the book. Is that weird?
It's not weird. It's boomer.
Am I a boomer? Does that make me a fucking boomer?
Well, most people want to hear the audiobooks now, you know? A lot of people said, well, just do audiobooks. You can make money off of it, you know, read your stuff. Well, my stuff is on my YouTube page, but I don't put any of the tags on it, and I've never bothered. Don't care to.
No, I need a hard copy book if I decide to read.
I'm actually with you guys, too. I would much rather have the hard copy. I mean, we were talking about The Witcher before it started. I have all 8 books. People think, there's not 8 books. There's only 5. Well, think again. There's 3 before. There's a couple before. Yeah, there's 8 books in total.
Psychodor has 250 books on his phone. Otherwise, his pants fall down.
That's important. I don't know. I guess it depends on where you're at.
I mean, it doesn't have to be a hardback. It can be, you know, it can be a softback. It can be paperback, as long as it's a book. Now, I will say, when I was reading through the Dark Tower series, I much preferred the hardback books over the paperback books. But that's because the first edition hardbacks have actual pictures in them, and you're like, oh my god, that's really cool.
See, Louise, she's a true reader. She's on Goodreads. She follows me there. But you can tell the real hardcore readers when they buy more than they can store. And sometimes they buy more than they can read. Those are the real book ones. Yes, I was just giving him a rib in the side. Don't persecute me for my jabbing at Loki.
Oh God, Adega does it all the time, y'all. Adega does it all the damn time. You have no idea. When we went out to dinner, he was like, "Okay, I take you to a 5-star restaurant. You order the hamburger, burnt, and tell them to burn it." I'm like, well, a damn good hamburger. One of the best hamburgers. It was a buffalo burger. My bad. It wasn't a hamburger. It was a buffalo.
4 inches tall.
God help me. Yeah, it was like bacon and Swiss. And damn, was it good? But yeah, and I take you to a 5-star restaurant. You burn the fucking hamburger. Yeah, charcoal hockey puck.
Didn't even try the hors d'oeuvres either.
I thought about the dessert, but that buffalo burger was like, damn.
I had a buffalo steak a long time ago. Before I realized how sensitive I was to red meat. I don't eat red meat. It gives me, at least beef, gives me some serious headaches. Lamb will kill me. Elk, there's some weird, odd thing. And coming to find out that there was some tick or bug, and I spent a lot of time in Arkansas visiting my grandparents, that carries this weird enzyme or something. And when you get bit by them, you gain an allergy to red meat. And I think that's something that happened to me probably.
Yeah, it's more like new. If we would have been anywhere else besides this beautiful 5-star restaurant that Adega took me out to, I would have told them, put it on a plate and nuke that motherfucker from orbit. It's the only way to be sure. Oh man.
Yeah, but I had the chance to spoil you, so I did.
Oh man. So it's just, you know what, guys, you're gonna get published. Your work's gonna get published.
I'm not worried about
absolutely no doubt that your work's gonna get published. And I hope this made you feel better. I hope this made you feel better tonight.
I appreciate everyone in chat. I really do. I appreciate you too, Loki. It's very nice of you to do that. I've got some avenues. I am gonna wait a couple weeks. Who knows? Maybe she's listening tonight, or he is. I don't want to bother them because, here's your baby. This is something brilliant that they put together, and it got taken away by force, and not by bad decisions. And there is going to be a grieving process. This is something that they worked on very hard for a long time, did everything they could to make it right. And, there'll probably be some wine involved, maybe something even stronger, and a couple of weeks for them to go through it. When all's said and done, I'll see, maybe I will approach them and say, hey, you know what? You've been in the business, the companies. Any chance I can get a letter of recommendation? You tell me where to go. And that's depending, because I don't talk about this, but I do know some people besides Joe Mazzoli, in the business. And my wife said, hey, you know what? They're family. Go approach them. I said, well, okay. And it isn't like another person I know in their family where they are on the more dark side of Hollywood. These are the ones that avoid the unions, stay away from the crowds, do things right, moved out of California, and make product that is wholesome. Yo Gabba Gabba for kids. There's several different things that they worked on, some movies that you'd probably know. So he's my niece's husband. So I'll probably, and he's a good guy. He's a real nice guy. I'll may say, hey, you know what? If there's any opportunity here, look at this. I got all kinds of avenues, and I'm not worried about it.
I'd like to thank the chat. The chat is just exploding with green fire right now for Adega. Thank you guys. Thank you so very much.
Yeah, thank
Everyone
you.
throwing those green fireballs out that looks like green grass.
Yeah, I'm just seeing it through StreamYards, and half the time it doesn't show up. So, yeah, I
It's
appreciate that, guys.
G Fire. That's what it shows.
I appreciate that. You know, everyone complains about how entertainment and different things have gotten so weak. And if there is any small way that I can give a diversion that makes you actually think and appreciate and walk away feeling better than when you arrived, that would be awesome. There's a quote that was going to come out that I did. Some of you seen it, and people like it. It's if an emotion can be created, elevated, or manipulated in a reader, the author has done well, regardless of the size of the audience. And I have a few of you here that's paid off. And that is very special. Even if it was just one, I've done it for one person, one beyond myself. And that's now 2 people, which means the world is 2 times better.
It's a beautiful way to look at it. Thank you for being.
Oh man, you gave me a chance to sit here and talk things out and vent and have a bunch of people in chat who I've never met pat me on the back. I appreciate it. I really do.
Oh yeah, brother. And we'll be back, guys, next week. We'll return with some spooky stories and the fact-finding mission from Adega. But tonight, thank you, seriously. And I want to, because Adega is the one that pretty much started the like
Fires of
Valhalla. We're
Because I
gonna
like to burn crap.
We're going to burn down a village for you. So, everyone, just for you, Adega. Skull!
They deserved it. They deserved it.
Everybody take care. Have a wonderful night. We'll be back in the morning with something. We're gonna do something. I'm not sure what we're gonna do yet, but we're gonna do something. Everyone have a great, wonderful night, and we will kick it off tomorrow morning with the last of the week, and then I'm taking off and I'm going to Retro PaloozaCon for the weekend. So everybody take care. Have a great one. We love you, Adega, and we'll see y'all tomorrow morning.
Good night.
These videos are tremendous. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hammer that notification bell.